Hi, I'm Claire Snyder Hall, and I'm running to be the first woman to represent RD14 in Dover. Um, it's Running in a Democratic primary is interesting because all the candidates have the same agenda. And so I've been thinking a lot about what differentiates me from my two opponents. And the unofficial slogan of our campaign has become relationships matter. And that's what differentiates me. I have a strong network of good relationships on the ground in Dover. And that is what's going to enable me to be an effective legislator. Relationships matter. Relationships that I forged through 13 years of political work, including 5 years as the head of Common Cause Delaware, definitely matter. But I've also been thinking about other types of relationships that matter that have profoundly affected my political commitments. For example, when I first got out of college, I worked at a group home for emotionally disturbed adolescent girls, most of whom were child sex abuse survivors. And my second job was working in adolescent chemical dependency unit. And the relationships I formed with the teenagers in those programs profoundly affected me. And that is why I will always fight for more resources for mental health services and for substance abuse programs, both of which are desperately needed in Delaware. Secondly, I ended up not pursuing an MSW, but I ended up getting a PhD in political science, and I was a classroom teacher for 20 years. And so I've dealt with all kinds of students. I've had to deal with people from a variety of different perspectives at George Mason University, one of the most diverse campuses in the country. And so I know what it's like to teach. I know what it's like to empower young people through education. And so I will always support teachers and I will always support our public schools. And then finally, I'd have to say that I also have a very deep understanding of the challenges of aging. I lost my father to Alzheimer's in 2012. And my mother, I was able to spend a couple of years with her. Mickey and I were able to move down to Florida for a few years to take care of her in her last years. And she had multiple challenges. But the relationships I had with my parents in their last years and with their caretakers have also profoundly affected me. And I will always fight for more resources for seniors and particularly developing more long-term care options, which is desperately needed in Delaware. Relationships matter. The relationships that form your understanding of the world matter, as do the relationships you develop through your political work that enable you to be able to do good for the people who need it. I hope you'll vote for me on September 10th.